Well, hello there. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Tracers. However, if this is your first time with us, then just welcome. The Tracers are in a bit of a pickle. Not an actual pickle because that would be gross and smelly. No, a few of them are having a problem. Well, several problems really. Problems that started a long time ago. They are problems that people just like you and me are faced with every day. In these situations, we don't always know what to do. The answer isn't always easy to figure out. In the Bible, there's a story about a man named Daniel who lived a very long time ago. Daniel was faced with many different trials, problems, and difficult situations during a culture and time when it wasn't always cool to do the right thing. Not only was it not cool, but you could sometimes get in a lot of trouble for doing the right thing. It was quite the dilemma to be in. While Daniel didn't always know the right thing to do, he knew who to talk to. Join me as we learn more about the Daniel dilemma. This is Joe. Joe's a great guy. He likes most of the things we all like. He likes riding his bike, eating pancakes, playing games, and having boxing matches with dinosaurs. Yeah, okay, that last one was a little weird. Joe is having a problem. He's faced with a dilemma. The dilemma that Joe is faced with is all about making the right choices. Some of the kids at school are not doing the things they should do. They aren't listening to the teachers. They are talking when they aren't supposed to be. They are being mean to some of the other students, and they are even cheating on tests. Yeah, that's a big deal. The thing is, some of these kids who are making bad choices are his friends, and they are trying to get him to do these things also. He doesn't know what to do. Does he go along with the crowd so that he's accepted and liked by the kids at school? Or does he do the right thing, even though it's different than what some of his friends are doing, and even though some of his friends won't think he's cool anymore? It's a hard call to make, and it isn't always an easy one. You see, Jesus always did the right thing. And doing the right thing is sometimes the hard thing to do. But with Jesus' help, we can do the right thing every time. And God promises that when we do the right thing, we will have the best life ever, even if it's difficult sometimes. And that's why today's main point is I can make good choices. Let me show you a story about what happens when we don't make the right choice, and then what happens when we do make the right choice. Let's go.
the Bible, there is a story about making good choices in a culture of compromise. In the Bible, in the book of Daniel, there is a story about 3 of Daniel's friends who had to make a very big choice. The king of that time was King Nebuchadnezzar. And one day, King Nebuchadnezzar decided that he wanted to make a statue of gold. So he had a dedication ceremony where he called all of the people of the land to come see the statue. This statue was an idol, or a false god, meaning it wasn't the one true, real God. And an idol is anything we worship that isn't God. Then King Nebuchadnezzar told everyone that they had to worship this idol that he built. He told them that at a certain time they would blow trumpets and everyone would have to bow down and worship this pretend god. And if they didn't, they would be thrown into a fiery furnace. Now Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had a very big choice to make. You see, these men made a choice a long time ago to love God, to live for Him, and to only worship Him. But if they didn't do what the king told them to do, they'd be thrown into a fiery furnace. But that didn't matter to them. They stood firm on the choice they already made. The time had come. The trumpet blew a loud blast, and everyone around them bowed down and worshiped the statue. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't bow. They stood tall and worshiped the real God instead of the statue. This made the king mad. He called for all 3 men to be brought to him. He asked them, "Is it true that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up?" Then he said that he would give them one more chance to bow down to the statue, or else they would be thrown in the furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king and said, "The God we serve is able to deliver us from the furnace and will save us from your hand. But even if he does not, we will not serve your gods or worship your idol." This made the king even more angry. He ordered that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter and that the men be thrown in immediately. When the men were thrown into the fire, the king leaped to his feet in amazement. He looked closer because he knew that they threw 3 men into the fire. But when he looked, he saw 4 men walking around inside the furnace. And he said that one of them looked like an angel of the Lord. The king couldn't believe his eyes. He called for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the furnace. When they did, everyone could see that they weren't hurt. Their clothes weren't burned, and the Bible says that they didn't even smell like fire. And from that day on, the king gave his blessing and protection to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and he actually promoted them in the kingdom, all because they made the right choice and stood for God.
Here at school today, Joe had a lot of choices that he had to make. Sometimes it's hard to stand for what we believe and make right choices, especially when everyone around us doesn't stand for or believe the same things as us. But that should never change our decision. We should make up our mind every day, as soon as we wake up, that we're going to be like Jesus, make good choices, no matter what anyone else does or thinks. Being a light and making good choices in a world that's compromising what it believes is the only way anything can ever change. Making good choices is important to God, and it should be important to us. And that's why today's main point is, I can make good choices. Join us next time as we journey deeper into the story and learn more about the Daniel dilemma.